What's a random act of kindness that stuck with you, by Ask Reddit.
My manager texted me with a random cartoon question, and when I had the answer he came in on Monday with $100 for me cause I apparently had won him money. Felt pretty random since we nearly never talked, and I think he just knew I was the office nerd.
Holy poo, that's awesome. I've given my manager advice because we both do sportsbook bets and all I'd get is a thanks for the help. I should ask for your help more often.
Ooh, what was the question?
What cartoon from the 80s featured cars with plants and organic matter?
Jason and the Wheeled Warriors.
Jason, yay lol.
A few years ago, living in South Korea, just gotten back from a trip, and was trying to get a taxi from a highway rest stop at like 2 a.m, aka, very difficult. Finally managed to book a taxi, but I couldn't find the driver when he got there. He was calling me and getting frustrated, and I was getting overwhelmed. I don't know if you've ever had to exist in a language that's not your native language, but there usually comes a point where you're so tired, you just can't anymore, and even if you know you understand, it's just not making sense. I had reached that point, so I sat down and resigned myself to losing the taxi and having to camp at the rest stop for the night. Some random old Korean man saw me crying and saying, "I don't speak Korean well. I'm sorry. I don't understand," and grabbed the phone, got me to the taxi, and his wife, I assume, handed me some candy and patted my arm and told me I'd be okay. And then the taxi driver was super sweet and was all like, "It's okay. You'll be home soon." All of them could have very easily ignored me, but were just like, here's a person who obviously needs help, so I'm gonna help.
I'm happy I looked into this thread because of stories like this. Just feels good about humanity.
Most people are good. Sometimes the internet can make you forget that. I also needed the good stories today, so I understand what you mean. I'm glad they're helping you.
Most people are good, need to keep saying that to myself. Too many counter examples these days, making it hard to remember, but it's extremely important.
My answer to OP's question is sort of similar to yours, minus the language barrier. I was almost stranded in a small town where I knew no one as an international student in Scotland. I had just finished hiking when I discovered that all trains heading back to my city got cancelled. I was in a resort kind of town where they had no taxi services and it was already cold and dark. My phone was also dead by this PT. The people waiting with me at a bus stop were very kind though and started ringing different places until they finally found one with a vacant room. It was peak season. They were employees who had just finished their shift at the Oak Tree Inn. Go there, people. The least I could do is advertise them when they saved my life, smiley face. I could have slept in the forest that night.
Where in Scotland should I look for the Oak Tree Inn?
Balmaha. Also go to Connick Hill if you're into hiking, spectacular views.
Wonderful, we do like hiking, thank you.
As someone who lives in Korea, you may have met the only kind taxi driver. Jokes aside, I had a similar experience when I arrived at the airport in Korea last year, and I was at that totally exhausted, brain-dead feeling. They had just started testing for COVID last year and I had no clue that I'd have to stay at the airport for 8 hours or overnight to get my test results. I was coming from Japan, and moving to Korea for work. Anyway, a man seemed really concerned about me and basically spent the time at the airport translating what was going on. Although my anxiety level was still high, I really appreciated the kindness from a stranger and I'll always remember him.
Apparently I have good luck with Korean taxi drivers. There was one guy who picked me up in the pouring rain while I was walking to school. And then backtracked with me when I realized I'd dropped my phone on the street. If he ever saw me around after that, he would roll down his window and yell, "Seonsangnim," and wave to me. Super cute old man, also had my share of grouches, but nothing too bad.
I love that. The only bad experiences I've had is absolutely crazy driving. Like going fast as possible and weaving in and out of traffic on the highway. I always crawl out of the taxi with a new appreciation for my life.
LMAO, it's true though. We're possibly moving back to Korea in a year or so, and my husband wants to take a car with us this time, since we'll have a kid. I think the idea of driving in Korea scares me more than giving birth. I'm perfectly content to walk everywhere lol.
Yeah, the language barrier is so tough, especially when something unexpected happens. My first time in France, I got on a train that I thought was going to the airport. Well, I was on the right line, but the specific train I was on had a terminus before the airport. My small town doesn't have public transit, and the Paris Metro RER is not the most straightforward system, so I have no idea what's going on. The RERB goes to the airport, so I got on the RERB. Well, we get to the terminus and everyone gets off. I sit tight because we're not at the airport, but everyone is telling me I have to get off, so I do. I'm clearly agitated, don't have a cell, don't know where I am or how to get anywhere, and I have a plane to catch. A lady who barely speaks any English tries to comfort me. You going airport? Yes, she points down the track and said, he is coming. Then she thinks for a second and says, she is coming. Then she stayed with me until the next train came and assured me it would take me to the airport. Another time in Bordeaux I asked a lady for change for a 5 or 10 or whatever because the ticket machine only took coins. My French was a little better but still terrible, so I was able to ask her for the change, but I didn't understand her response. She didn't have change for my bill, but she just gave me the money for the ticket. The French aren't super outgoing with strangers, but I'm not sure why they get the stereotype of being rude. I've found them quite helpful.
Thank you for watching. We upload new videos every day, so be sure to come back for more fun. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video.